Have you checked the children? You're a little mad sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Marcia Parker.
I'm Cecil Laird, and we are on location today. Not anything to do with a theme of what we're reviewing. It just happens to be a fun location. We are on location to film a vlog at the locally set up Movies pop-up that is obviously originated in the Jay and Silent Bob films. And so we are here to have some fun and have some food, but we got here a little bit early because we thought it might be fun to do a review on location, so that's what we're doing. And specifically, Marcia, what exactly are we doing with this?
Well, we're back for another binge-worthy episode. So so excited about this one, and I believe Cecil is too. We've been waiting and waiting to do this, and I'm just so psyched. We're talking about Sweet Home, which is a Korean Netflix series. So you can find it on Netflix now. It is in Korean, so don't be shy to watch it though, because they do have subtitles, and you can actually dub it over if you so choose. So,
Oh, really? I didn't even check.
I checked after I watched the whole thing. But I'm so glad I watched it the way in subtitles, because I feel like I was really involved in paying attention to what was happening in the characters and the development of the story. So do you and do what you want. You have the options, but just know it is available for you. This is 10 episodes long, and they run about 43 to 45 minutes a piece. So it is a little bit of a commitment for you. It's only one season currently, but I did read they are looking to get a second season out.
Oh, good.
So
Yeah,
yes,
I'm happy
please,
about that.
more of this. So yeah, my overall thoughts, if you haven't guessed, is this is amazing. I am so glad this came into my life, and I can do nothing but want more of it. Everything from the story to the actors to the special effects and the monsters themselves. I love it, and I can't wait to dig in deep. What about you, Cecil?
Yeah, this is just a really cool monster show, and we did a trailer reaction for it at one point in one of our reaction roundup episodes, and we all were, I don't even know if you got to see that trailer or not at the time.
I did, actually.
Oh, you did? Okay, yeah. So we were all pretty excited about it, and I was the first one to watch it, and I was excited because it ended up being good. And you know, I knew from the first episode that it had the chance to be good because the monster action that you get, especially towards the end, is really cool. But I mean, what essentially it is, well, we'll get into the story of it, but for my overall thoughts, I will say that yes, I was impressed with the series. I was happy with the multitude of variations on monsters in the show. I actually, again, we mentioned this before when we talked about a foreign film, where when you're having to pay attention and read everything, it makes you really, to me, it gets me more attached to the characters because I have to pay attention, and so I understand all the relationships that they're developing, and I don't miss anything because I'm trying to do something else. So as a result of that, I feel like I got really close to the characters and cared about a lot of them, and so the drama played really well. This is basically a Korean drama set amidst the monster apocalypse.
Right.
But it all takes place in one apartment building, kind of like The Raid Redemption or Dread. So it's these guys hunkered down trying to avoid the monsters that are everywhere, but not only that, anyone on the inside can at some point reveal themselves to be infected as well without having realized it, and so they can then in turn become monsters or something else entirely that we're not really sure what they are.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, the story made me happy, the acting made me happy, the monsters made me happy, so overall I was happy.
Yeah. Yeah, and to talk about the story a little bit, was a fun and interesting fact is that this is actually based off of a comic book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
How did I miss that comic? Jeez,
I know.
now I'm pissed.
And now we're like in the best setting, really, to be doing this review.
True.
But yeah, It was a comic, a Korean comic book, and
Oh, that's why I missed it.
probably.
Okay.
But I'm excited. It kind of felt like a comic book, the way the story was going and the stylized aspects of the show. But you start off, you're following the main character who had just lost his family in a tragic accident, and he's moving into this new apartment building, which the apartment building and the people in it seem a little off, but you're following him anyways, and you get to meet a lot of the key players as he's going through the building to get to his main apartment. You learn a lot about him and his struggles of dealing with his family and internal struggles on if he wants to survive and to live, which is really interesting as you watch him through this journey, which Cecil said, you know, is a post-apocalyptic survival storyline. So he makes, you know, has to make the decision, does he fight or does he just die, you know? So it's really cool. I love the fact that it's a post-apocalyptic series that doesn't surround itself around zombies or just one particular type of monster. It has all kinds of ranges of monsters, so whenever someone turns, you don't know what they're going to get, like you were saying, and so it makes it a lot more fun. And as you go along, you start to think, oh, maybe the choice of monster really affects of who they are as a person too. It takes it in consideration. So I do love it. I think it was fantastically done and very creative. I'm really interested to see what the comic book would be like, because I can only imagine, like, if this was what we got from a visual piece, like to have an actual storybook version would be amazing.
Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you, one of the things that I really liked about it is that for an apocalypse movie that really, in my estimation, normally I might not be a fan of this because it is kind of bunker style. However, the fact that it's an entire multi-story apartment building that they're going through, it didn't really feel that way to me, even though I knew it was one location.
Right.
But the nice thing about it is that amongst the 10 episodes, there was really, it didn't lean on the usual bunker tropes of, you know, tons of infighting and backstabbing and stuff. Because there were monsters constantly as a threat, they more worked together against that. So early on there was a little bit of that when there was everyone first realizing they're stuck, and then one particular episode later where some bad dudes show up. Outside of those 2 episodes, there's 8 episodes of non-leaning on that kind of drama, which made me really happy.
Yeah, I mean, they like you said, there was a little bit of it, but it wasn't detrimental to the group. I think each individual partnership of like relationships that you would walk yourself into would have different dynamics, some of them good and some of them not so great, but they didn't like focus on it like a whole season of Walking Dead, you know, like would. And it's really awesome because you're invested in these characters, but you realize like, hey, they're in a very scary situation, and not only are you trying to survive just not getting eaten by monsters, you're also trying not to turn into a monster. And you can, you know, and if you do, like, what does that mean? Do you save yourself? Do you just say screw it?
You sacrifice yourself to save everyone else.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
So it's really neat. So now let's go into the acting, because the acting, I really am excited to talk about it because I've been watching a lot of Korean movies through our Patreon, and I've really grown like mad respect for them and really enjoyed them. And this one pulled no stops, and I don't know if it had an extra level because it was a Netflix production and it just had so much more money behind it, but it felt well done, and the actors were spot on. Every single one of them did a really great job, and no, I don't think there was one person that got me out.
No, I agree. And each character, like, there was a unique set of characters. Like, there was the guy that owns the sort of the gift shop and his wife at the base of the building, and he's a complete asshole. She's nice, but she totally cowers before him. There's, you know, the computer playing guy, which is our main guy. There's a dude that's actually trying to make his way through life and adheres to these codas that he was taught as a kid when he first held a sword in his hand, or a knife rather. And there's you know, an old, what looks like must be a disabled veteran. There is a grandpa and his granddaughter, and then 2 kids that come into play as well. And it's just, I can recall all of these characters because they all stuck out to me.
And they all had incredible backstories. Everything very heartwarming and touching and heartbreaking at the same time. And they told it in a way that you didn't spend like a whole episode on one person. You learned it over time, and you just like, oh, I get it, you know. And it's just, there was like this one lady who walked around with a stroller with no baby in it. And when I learned her story,
yeah, at first
my
it's super creepy,
God.
and then when you find out why, you're like, oh,
my
man.
heart
Yeah.
was breaking. It was so sad. And you know, and then just the development and evolution of her story was just incredible. And that's just only one of them. I mean, the main character was great, and his story arc was amazing as well. But
Even the bitchy teenage girl
oh yeah,
had a great arc too.
yeah, like it's so great, and it just talks about how well it's done, that there's so many characters that you could just point at one and say, oh my gosh, their story was this. It was incredible. It was sad when this happened, and I was really rooting for them for this, and like I couldn't believe when this happened. And like to be able to do that and just feel and be so invested with each character just talks how well not only the actors but the story and the writing, just amazing. So the next thing I want to talk about is going to be obviously the monsters and the special effects.
Well, before we do that, let's round out the review with that. Before that, let's just talk briefly about the sound design and the music.
Okay, you want to go there first?
Yeah,
Okay.
because I don't think we'll be talking as long about those things. So,
Okay.
so the sound design I did really like. Actually, let's hit music first because sound design leads into effects, really. The music I enjoyed for the most part. However, there was a particular Imagine Dragons song that they kept going back to over and over again
It was
when
the
like
theme
when like
song.
heroic stuff was supposed to be happening, and it just got a little silly. But overall, I really enjoyed the music. I just had to make that mention.
I loved it though.
Okay.
I enjoyed it.
At first, I was about it. I was like, yeah, I like this song, and then like the next episode was like, okay, this song's back. It's like, oh,
I don't know. Like
okay.
I kind of felt like it was their like, you know, they're like, we got this. You know, like we're coming to our own, and we're, you know, getting it. You know, it's the Warriors. Imagine Dragons, the Warriors. So.
Yeah.
I mean, it is silly, but at the same time, it's just like when I heard it come on, I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
it pumps you
pumped.
up, yeah.
Let's get them, you know. So,
And then the sound design, though, obviously all of the normal sounds of a typical drama and show have to be here, but in addition to that, you have a crumbling building at a number of times. You have so many different types of monsters, each with their own unique sound design associated with them, right? Because, you know, there's everything from big muscly dudes to more spindly dudes with tentacle tongues to literally slime things, you know, like there's all kinds of different monsters, and so all kinds of different sound design, which I thought was not only appropriate, but added to each and every scenario where they were put in.
Yeah.
So I had to bring up the sound design too, because again, that's why I mentioned it leads into the effects, because that sound design is what helped sell all of the effects, many of which were straight CG, but didn't entirely pull you out, largely because of those sounds.
yeah,
So, please, by all means, jump in.
I absolutely 100% agree with you. And I think too, like where I was so like zoned into what was happening because I was reading the subtitles, so I was listening to everything too, because I'm like trying to pick all of it up and ingest all of it. Like I really was hearing the individual sound effects for each monster, and even there's times when you had to like be like, I found myself trying to be quiet and I'm like listening for the things, because you know you really felt it in that moment, which talks about the buildup they use with the sound. Like you're not going to have a successful moment in horror without the buildup and then the payoff. And I did not have one moment that I was like, ooh, they could have done better. I thought every payoff worked for me, so I was excited about that. And it does, like the sound design really does go hand in hand with the special effects, which is hard to accomplish in any sort of series or film. So go ahead, talk about the monsters. I know you really want to
Yeah,
talk about
no, I mean, what was really neat is that, yeah, every monster originally was a human being. It all is mutations, right? Every single human can mutate into anything. And so that's what's not only clever, like zombie shit, especially zombie shows.
There's only so much you can
if
do.
someone is hiding an infection, you know what's going to happen eventually. They're going to fucking turn, and it's going to be bad for the group because they hid it, and it's such an old trope. But in this one, anytime anyone is suddenly infected, they either A, don't have time to do anything before shit starts to happen, or B, when they hide, it doesn't bother you because not only do they not know what's going to happen, but you have no idea what's going to happen. They may turn into, like I said, a slime monster. They may turn into a giant brute. They may not turn into anything at all, per se. So, like, that's where it keeps you on edge, and that's where monsters are played in such a brilliant way in the show. But each one that you get is really cool. I mean, there's like a tall, lanky, shambling monster, essentially with no lower jaw, or the lower jaw way down here, that shoots its tongue out to wrap you up and suck you in. There's a giant brute thing that's like all upper body that
Super
just
Hulk.
lumbers around, yeah, like what the Abomination looked like in the Hulk movie, basically. And then there, like I said, there's a goopy monster. There's we got a loud phoenix here.
Yeah.
There's even witch-like creatures and things like that. So it's just really neat, and it's fun, and it doesn't get boring. And yes, some are more CG heavy, but outside of a few sequences, they're usually portrayed in such a way where it's the good lower lighting, or it's raining and stuff, where it obscures some of these effects enough where it really sells it even more. But a lot of the effects are just done well enough where they can show them in the light, and it's still frightening. So yeah, monsters for me were a big win.
Yeah, and like we've said over and over, the variety was huge for me. I think if it was the same monster, I think it would still be good, but it wouldn't be as satisfying and be like, oh, it's a new monster, what are we gonna get? There's a couple of them that I really dug. I really dug the one where he was a security guard at one point, but then the samurai guy like chops his head off like this and thinks he's dead. No,
that was awesome.
Because
Yeah.
they don't die. So he chops his head off, and now he goes around and he
The
can't
top of his
see.
head.
Yeah, just like right through
Yep,
here. Like you can't see. He has no eye. So he goes around and he's all like, I can't see.
But he's got one ear that's like mutated and grown.
Supersonic hearing. So if you make any sort of noise, he's got you. So there's a lot of great fun moments using this monster. And then another one that I thought was really fun was the head was like, the neck was elongated. He was standing at the bottom. He was standing at the bottom of the building, but he was elongated and and his head was a giant eyeball. So he could just go through each window trying to locate somebody. And when he found somebody, I won't say how or why, he did break through the window and was able to wrap around.
Yeah, I was like, what's this thing gonna do?
Like an anaconda.
And then I was like, ooh.
And it just like starts getting tighter and tighter and tighter, and you could hear the bones just getting.
There's that sound design again.
Yes, it was amazing. I think those are my two favorite monsters out of the
Yeah,
whole thing.
that first one you talked about is great. And the first time I heard it say that, I giggled a little bit, and then it just became unnerving because all it did was walk around going, I can't see. But if it hears you, it can like fire its arm out and like shoot like a giant, like Carnage, essentially, if you guys know Venom or Carnage, like just a freaking straight thing all the way across down a hallway and impale someone. So just really awesome imaginative monster stuff. And if you're anything like us, I think you'll like it as well. So again, it's a commitment because it is, you know, I thought they were almost an hour at some episodes, but you obviously did the looking, so I'll defer to you, at least 40, 45 minutes. But yeah, it's worth your time, guys, and I think personally, definitely worth the binge.
Binge-worthy for you, binge-worthy for me, and for everyone that I've recommended it to and watched it so far.
Oh
So,
yeah, people have watched it?
Yep. I've been recommending this out to anybody I can talk to because I just enjoyed it so much. So yes, binge-worthy. Yes. So you tell us, are you gonna take the time and watch Sweet Home, or is this something that you're not interested in? And if it isn't, then I don't know if you're watching the right channel, personally. But keep watching. But yeah, let us know what you thought. Make the comments below, and if you guys have any
recommendations along these
there
lines?
you go.
Yeah.
I'm like, where is my words
See,
and thoughts?
that's why we're co-hosts.
Yep. So if you guys have any recommendations, please reach out and let us know. I'm always looking for that next binge. Thanks again. I've been Marcia Parker.
I've been Cecil Laird.
This has been The Horror Show, and
Remember,
stay scared.